So about 3.5 months ago, I was on an episode of a podcast that I listen a lot to. It's a business and marketing podcast. It's the host is Jenna Kutcher, and it's called the Goal Digger Podcast. And I was lucky enough to sort of throw my hat in the ring and step outside my comfort zone and volunteer to have a live coaching session that was turned out to be an episode. And it aired on about 3.5 months ago. I recorded it about a week or two before that. There really wasn't a ton of time between the time that that opportunity came up and the time that they reached out, and then they set the date. So that was crazy because it was literally 5 weeks after I launched my business on my birthday of 2024 in January. And I had so many questions. I had it was she's supposed to help you with whatever you're struggling with the most. And I had so many things. So I had trouble narrowing down, where do I start? I have this valuable 40 minutes or whatever to ask this amazing person who's so smart and so helpful and find out, little nuggets of gold. And I was so overwhelmed by the idea of how do I maximize that time and that opportunity. So yeah, I spent a lot of time with my perfectionism and my overthinking really in high gear the week or two before we actually filmed the episode, because I was supposed to come up with, the questions. And so yeah, I was in a bit of a fog for those 2 weeks. And I don't know if it was worth it. I'm sure the episode would have been really valuable, even if my questions had been half as good, because it was really more about Jenna being able to put that value pretty much and coach and give really great tips to, no matter what. So it was less about me, definitely much more about her. But anyway, so this is a podcast, one of very few podcasts that I subscribe to. And I only listen to podcasts. I only get a chance really to listen to them when I'm in the car, which isn't a ton of time anymore. We only have one car now because I was laid off last summer, and we just decided to go down to one car. There are 5 of us, but one's at college and the other 2 don't drive. And my husband can walk to work, and I am remote because I was laid off. And I'm never going to go back to an in-office type of job situation again anyway, regardless of whether I turn up working for someone else or my business takes off and I can continue working for myself. But where I do need and my kids can all walk to school. So the times when I do listen to the podcasts, the opportunities are usually when I take my dog to doggy daycare. He's a year and a half, and he's super, super active and social. And you can send him there for 8 hours and with 30 dogs, and he's tired when we get home, but it doesn't take a long time for him to have a nap, recharge, and then be back to his self. But the next day, his energy is usually a lot better and he's more manageable and he's just more of a normal dog. And so I tried to figure out which days are the best days to send him so that he's happy because he loves going there and I can focus and get work done. And so, yeah, it's super expensive and I don't have the money right now. But the thing is those are the days when I can plan to get the most work done. And so I feel like it's paying off, even though it's not technically paying off in the sense that I'm not getting an ROI right now on this. But nothing's getting an ROI right now. I'm investing a lot of time, money, effort, and it's not translating into earnings right now. But I'm sort of looking at it as a longer term strategy, and I just have to be persistent and hope that we can continue paying the bills without there being major disruptions. It's something I think about and worry about all the time, this scarcity and this fear of did I do the wrong thing? So trying to get back on track. So today's episode, I wasn't taking him to the daycare, but he's on my lap right now. And I don't know how much I'm going to get done, including this recording. But I thought it was really important because I was listening to the episode that dropped today. It was episode number, I can't even remember now, 7 something. She has almost 800 podcast episodes. But so today is May 29th. So I started listening to it. I usually put it on 1.25x. If I put it on 1.5, she's a pretty quick talker, so I usually miss something. So I can usually do well at 1.25. And usually the episodes are no longer than about 43 minutes typically. And so what'll happen is on days when I'm going up to his daycare, which is about a 15-minute drive up and a 15-minute drive back, and then I have to do that twice a day, the beginning and the end of the day, usually I can get, at the very least, one whole episode in, and sometimes when it's really good, I start listening to it again. So for today, I didn't have to do that, but I did have to kind of go up that way. And so I pressed play, and I've only made it through, I think, the first 20 minutes of the podcast. And it was enough in there where I was like, okay, I'm not going to listen to the rest of it. I'm going to like go home. I listened to as much as I could in the time that I was in the car to go to CVS and come back. And when I got back, I was like, okay, this inspired me to really put together a video today that I'm going to share. And it is something I think about doing every day. And I usually work on at least a little bit every day. Like yesterday, my whole day was spent feeling like I really need to nail down one topic and work on one episode for my next YouTube video. And I spent hours upon hours and didn't even feel like I ended up with a decent product. And I really don't know where the hyperfocus of ADHD overlaps with perfectionism. I just know that like when I looked up, it was like the day was gone and everybody was out of the house, so there were no distractions. And I don't get that most of the time. I get that a couple days a week, but I really wanted to be really efficient during that time. I really wanted to be able to like feel proud about what I accomplished and be focused and everything. But I still ended up feeling like I was spinning my wheels so much of the time. It was frustrating. It wasn't rejuvenating. It didn't make me feel good when I was done. It made me just feel like I had to keep going until I actually got some glimmer of where I felt like this was good enough to stop now. And I can't, the reality is I don't always get to that point. I don't often get to that point. And it leaves me for the rest of the day kind of grumpy and frustrated and sort of like I can't really engage with much easily. Luckily, like once I wind down and have enough detachment and completely like switch my attention to something else, usually I start to kind of come back to the point where I'm easing in. But switching tasks for ADHD people like me is really, really hard, especially if you were in this super hyper focus mode. Because I was really, really intent that this was going to, like, I was going to end up with an episode script that I was going to, I had started filming, but it just everywhere I turned, nothing seemed like good enough. That sounds like my perfectionism more than anything. But I have higher standards for myself. I spent the first 10 videos of my YouTube channel sort of being very experimental and just sort of like what feels easiest to me and try to each like video tweak it a little bit more. And I feel like I've done that. But at the core of it, I really, really need to get organized. I need to prepare and plan and be focused. And that's with what I'm going to talk about and, ahead of time, preparing for that. And also really having the organization so that when I hit record, I know exactly what I'm going to say next. Because without that, I end up rambling. Like right now, I'm not reading off of anything. So this is just me rambling. But at the same time, this isn't a very specific topic, I guess. So this is more of just like stream of consciousness that's going to be leading into something very specific very soon. It just takes me a long time to get there, right? And I know with YouTube videos, you're not supposed to take a long time. You're supposed to literally hit the ground running the first 30 seconds. You don't even introduce yourself. You don't set things up. You literally lapse right into what you promised in the headline. What is the point of when someone clicks on here? Like, what are you going to give them? And so I really wanted to be like, I want this next, the next 10 videos to be much more like I spend time, doing more than just hitting record and from that point on. So I'm doing the preparation part. And for ADHD people who are challenged with executive functioning, preparing and planning and organizing and, not feeling overwhelmed and shut down or whatever, can be really like daunting. And it can basically, and mix that with perfectionism, it's really not pleasant. But I'm persisting because I feel like this is something like that's calling me, like this whole sharing, and trying to put value out there, and be authentic at the same time. And, I'm totally cool with showing up, vulnerably, and sort of like unedited as, all those things. But at the end of the day, like, I don't expect anybody to click on this, unless I'm going to give them something tangible, right? People's time it's really precious, right? And so's mine. And so I want to be clear why I'm even doing this to begin with. I don't want this to be sort of all over the place like most things feel like in my life. Definitely the way my brain feels like most of the time. I want this to be clear and planned out as much as I can. So I'm definitely trialing a bunch of different ways in order to do that. So this episode today actually really resonated with me, even though, like I said, I only got about halfway through it. I got up to like the 20-minute mark, right? So I decided I'm going to try to follow and like break down some of the See, that's the thing with her episodes. They always make me feel like this is doable. Like the steps are broken down into such small digestible pieces, which is exactly what I need in order to even get started. And feels like there's so little pressure. Like she will literally hand you, like she's like, I know this is hard getting started. She has ADHD too and everything. And you're like, just do this one thing. And that's fine. And it's like she's giving you permission to just like really lower the bar, but also show you that, just showing up and just making that first step is like such a huge thing, right? And then the good thing is that she also she gives you actionable things to implement and tips and mindset, everything, right? To do the next thing and the next thing, which is why I show up twice a week and listen to her podcasts. And I can usually find, no matter what the topic is or who she's interviewing or whatever, what's going on, I can usually find something really, really valuable in that. And often, it's overwhelming, even though it's only a 40-minute podcast. I come out of the car and I'm like trying to memorize all of these things that really hit for me and trying to figure out how do I record this? How do I learn this? Because I don't have a great memory. Again, ADHD, possibly brain fog from perimenopause, which I seem to be in the thick of right now at 48. And yeah, so, my brain has trouble retaining things. And yet at the moment that it's happening, it feels really important. And I'm grasping what she's saying. I'm like, yes, like this is important enough for me to revisit. This is something that I need to do. This resonates with me. I want to share it with other people. And yet, that all takes time and effort and energy to really, when you don't have a great memory and you're not good at organizing. And then you sit down and you're like, okay, what do I do next in order to retain that information and learn it and use it to my benefit? And that is a super tricky part that I am still trying to work on. But this is my attempt right now of working through this problem that I have out loud. I assume that other people have this problem too. So I figure if I share this video and somehow YouTube matches me with the people that are looking for this kind of thing, which seems to be a problem. I think because I talk about all sorts of different things and it takes me a long time to get to the point. And who has the time? Especially if you have ADHD, you are probably overwhelmed by lots of things and you probably just want to get to the point, right? Because I'm like that. And that's probably why I like Jenna's episodes, because they do exactly that. They're efficient and effective and valuable, and I know I'm not wasting my time. And so I guess that's my model, right? That is what I'm working toward. But of course, it's not going to come overnight because I struggle with the same things. And so I guess my goal really is to figure out some of these problems, iron out some of these wrinkles in a way that I can then pass on to other people, right? So not in a way that they can receive it. So I end up with a product or an episode or whatever, some kind of finished result or whatever that's actually helpful and can be received in a way that the most other people can take it in and use it. And that could take years. I have no idea. It's something I've struggled with my whole life. So I don't know how good I'm going to get at it, but I'm not going to stop trying. Perseverance is sort of it's probably the equivalent in ADHD brains to say the idea behind consistency for neurotypical people. Now, consistency is everything, right? Especially in business. It's like YouTube says that you need to do this consistently. You need to do this and here's the thing, I'm consistent in a lot of ways. And then there are other ways where I can't be no matter how hard I try. And I guess when it comes to YouTube and stuff, yeah, I really want to get to the point where I'm like, okay, every Monday I'm going to show up and there's going to be this episode. But at this point, I'm not there yet. Sometimes I put out 3 episodes back to back. Sometimes 9 days goes by, right? That's not consistent. But I keep showing up and I keep going back to the fact that I'm not going to give up just because I'm not consistent. I'm going to keep showing up and posting videos inconsistently while I'm trying to figure out how to deliver on the consistency part. And in the meantime, if I never even get there, I'm going to lean heavily in on the fact that I am persistent. And that is something I can say is a really helpful trait in business. And so I'm going to lean in on that. And I'm going to say, hey, that's actually one of my strengths. Consistency is one of my weaknesses. I acknowledge both, right? And I'm going to lean in more heavily on my strength right now, while I also am hopefully addressing the parts where I'm weak, but I know I can get a little bit better, right? It's never going to get to the same level, right? So, but I don't feel like it's acceptable at this point. I know I have to maintain a certain level and I can get there. It's just going to take me a while. So yeah, juggling all these things at once. It's a lot.